What do we do as empowered women when we're faced with a critical situation in our lives? What do we do about it? How do we not allow survival mode to kick in? How do we take care of ourselves in the meantime that we're taking care of others when someone needs us? And yeah, how do we do it? How do we stay and remain in our center? And I'm fully committed to share way more about the behind the scenes. I feel like I've shared that in the past, but I promised that I was going to do this video, and I really wanted to share the walking the talk. And how can we really create a beautiful, powerful outcome in a situation that is absolutely super scary. And we don't fill ourselves with pressure, with resentment, with leaving yourself for last, and everyone wins. So basically what happened is about 2 weeks ago, my husband woke up one day and he started peeing blood. He's been remodeling one of our apartments, and he's done a lot of physical activities. He wanted to do that. It was all in choice, full choice, but probably he overdid it. And he woke up that next day peeing blood. When he finished and everything was done, it's almost like the body said, like, okay, now I'm going to relax. When he told me, obviously, I was alarmed. I was scared. I was trying to remain strong, right? Like, this is my label, right? Like the strong one. And I did. I was calm. We went to the doctor. We were able to find an appointment that was really good. And they did some exams. Nothing seemed, there wasn't an infection going on. They said that it could have been that maybe a kidney got ruptured. And in any case, so that's when the whole situation with the American healthcare system started going on. They wanted to do an exam for this, an exam for that, an exam for that. And, until then, they didn't want to give a diagnosis, which I totally understand. And at the same time, the medicine in Argentina works so differently. I noticed myself getting so aggravated and upset, and like, oh my gosh, like we need to do, he has his own doctor, but I'm like, this is not it. And we also live in a very small town, so it's limited. Like, you need a specialist. And I was really looking to dealing with my own emotions, right? Like whatever was coming up that I have with the healthcare system here, the frustration that I have. And on top of that, I didn't want to put more of that into Rob, that he was already feeling pretty scared. Like, what was that? If it's not an infection, like, then what is it? So again, right, like I was dealing with that, with my own frustrations, looking to not put that on him or on the situation, and honoring to that I'm only human, right? So we get all these tests done, we go back to the doctors, there's no solutions. And at some point, I started to feel desperate. I started to feel like I needed to have more answers, and I let myself go. What I mean by this is, okay, I don't always have to be the strong one. This is one of the things that for the last 3 years, I've been very conscious of, that label of being the strong one all the time. And I don't have to be. And that doesn't mean that I'm weak. That doesn't mean that I can't show up for others, but it also means that I am showing up for myself, and that I'm giving myself the grace to feel what I need to feel. Does that make sense? So yeah, so I broke down. And I got to the point, because I feel like this. In the past, when I would remain strong, I would have this energy, and I would be very like critical to like, okay, this needs to happen and this needs to happen, and get very kind of robotic about it. And I've learned even through these past years that when I allow myself to soften and feel, of course, I'm going to feel the fear first because that's the first emotion. And as I feel the fear, then I'm feeling more of like, okay, the frustration, the fear, but then I'm feeling, I'm tapping deeper into my feminine. I'm tapping deeper into, well, the self-compassion, the self-love for myself. Like, I don't know what to do. And it feels awful that I don't know what to do. And also, Paula, it's not all your responsibility. I don't have to take care of everything. And of course, I love my husband. I love Rob, but I also don't have to be fully responsible for everything that he's feeling as well, right? And I'm sure this could happen with your kids. This could happen with people. We love our parents. So, right? Like, so I had to remind myself of, it's okay. I can still feel that I don't have the answers, and I can still feel that that I'm at a loss and I don't know what to do. And in that opening, instead of blocking and being single-minded, I was able to open. And then, when I talked to my parents, I was talking to my mom, and I was telling her, because then in the past I would not done that because I don't want more people involved, and they start giving me their opinions and I want nothing to do with it. So I was talking to them and I wanted to let them know, so then they knew where I was. And as talking to them, my mom asked me a question. I was like, oh, right. My dear friend from forever, like my brother when we were little kids, he's a urologist. He's a specialist, like that's his specialist. And it didn't even occur to me, because when we're in fear and we're not really thinking straight because we're here and we try to find a solution, when I was able to drop into my feminine and really feel how I was feeling, and I opened, so I wasn't closed, I opened, and my mom, was talking to me, well, do you think you can ask one of our other dear friends who also is a doctor, and, he could maybe remind me of someone. But in that moment, when my mom asked me that question, I'm like, oh, I have my dear friend, right? He's a urologist. I called him right away. He texted me right away. He told me exactly what Rob needed. We did an ultrasound instead of doing a big test with like CT scan that wasn't needed. And for right now, so we did that. We went to hospital. We did it. My friend gave me a medicine, a drug that then the doctor here prescribed, and and it was so much easier. And literally within the one day of taking that medicine, the blood stopped, and he started to feel much better, and at least at peace that it wasn't something weird. So apparently it looks like it was that he pulled his kidney. Anyway, the details don't matter. What matters is that it felt so good to be able to, first of all, recognize when my I got it girl was getting triggered in like, I have to pile everything on me and I have to do it all on my own. No, I could allow myself to feel, to connect with myself. And then when my mom asked me the question, I'm like, right. And I had that idea of, the mind was more open, see, because I was allowing myself to feel and also give myself grace of not having to have it all together. I was able to receive the inspiration and connect with my friend, who then prescribed what he needed. He knew exactly, he took all the time to read the studies, and this is all long distance. I haven't talked to my friend in a couple of months, and it was beautiful just to feel so supported, just to know that I'm not alone, that we're not alone. And I know we know this, but to actually, again, it's by giving ourselves the grace to being where we're at, instead of putting more pressure on ourselves or piling on to everything that's happening. Rob, how he was feeling, how my parents were feeling about it, how they were worried in the past. I would have put all of that into the mix, and it would have made me completely exhausted, overwhelmed, and then resentful. It doesn't work. So I wanted to share that I had to let myself go. I had to allow myself to feel the feelings, feel the fears, um, cry what I needed to cry, and crumble, because it doesn't make me less strong. It actually makes me human. It makes me a woman. It makes me someone that's going through something, and it's okay. And it doesn't, I don't always have to have the answers, but when we are in that receptive state, when we can allow ourselves to be and connect and feel, then the answers come, because we're always protected. And sometimes on this journey we don't believe that, right? We don't believe it, or we doubt it, or again, when survival kicks in, forget it. You're not going to be able to tap into that. And what I want to invite you from this video is that to remember that when you have a critical situation, with something happens in your life, that whatever it is, allow yourself to be present and to feel what you need to feel. Because if you hold it all together in order to be strong, it's not going to serve you. So again, I wanted to share this, a lot of TMI, but I'm trusting that this makes sense to you and that it connects with something in your life, perhaps that right now you needed to deal with or you needed to connect with. The holidays are coming. This is also really good to have it in the forefront for the holidays, when you're faced with family, with a lot of situations, with a lot of travels. Allow yourself to connect with yourself, to feel, to connect with your feminine, as I would say it. And yes, there's a lot of things to do, there's a lot of things to finish, but it doesn't have to be from that hard place, from that gripping all the time, having it all together. Maybe you need a couple hours for yourself, which is what I did. Just giving myself that grace, having a couple hours, and then come back, because when we give to ourselves, we have so much more to give. I really trust it makes sense. Please let me know how this resonated with you. And I'm sending you so much love. I'll share more in the next videos. Mwah.